After watching this video, you're going to stop making the 5 most common mistakes I see when players are teeing off. We're going to go through them, and then at the end, you're going to be hitting better golf shots. Let's take a look at the first mistake. So I'm down at Warrington Golf Club and I'm on the 17th tee, and I've actually come on the junior tee here just to mix the hole up a little bit for me. It's 397 yards and it's a par 4. And the first common mistake I would see would be that when golfers get out onto the golf course, whether it's a par 4 or a par 5, they walk over to their bag and straight away, because that scorecard says 4 or 5 on it, the big stick's got to come out. They get on there. They don't really think about what the hole presents to them. They just say, well, par 4 or par 5, it's got to be driver. And that's not the case. We've got to see that sometimes we might be hitting the wrong golf club. Because for me, on this hole now, because I've moved forward up the tees, the pond that is down in the distance that's at 270, that could come into play for me. So if I were to just stand here, make a good golf swing with my driver, and hit one off out here, I could run the risk of actually finding trouble, all because I've just gone to driver. I've not plotted it out in my head and thought, well, what's going on? I come into here, I pick the driver out, make a good golf swing. It's gone a little bit left, and you know what? It wasn't the club for me, that one. So when you get onto the tee, actually think, what club do I need to be hitting? Because when you're playing at the course, if you're a regular member and you're playing at the same course all the time, it might not be that you need to always hit driver. Change it up a little bit. It's probably better for me to actually hit a rescue club down here, because I can get by the trouble and then I can leave myself short of the pond and actually leave myself in a good position. So tip number 1, don't just walk straight to your driver. Think about what you've got in front of you. The conditions may have changed. It might be a little bit wind into it, might be downwind, but just think, it's not always driver. Pick a different golf club. Tip number 2, and the mistake that I'm commonly seeing, and I saw this from my friends when I played with them the other day, partially due to we were playing off mats all the time, and that's to do with tee height. And My Golf Spy actually did a great study on this. I'll put the image up here and a link for the post down there if I can find it, all about how high we're teeing our driver. Because what we will see here, if I just give my club face a little bit of a spray and I peg one down, and you come in close for me and have a look how low I actually tee this golf ball, you can see now where that sits on the club face. And dependent on where I were to strike this golf ball now, actually has a correlation to where I hit it, either rough or fairway. The study found that if I were to hit this one now, and it's not too bad, it's just gonna clamber onto the fairway, I think, but have a look at where I've struck it, right down out of the bottom of the golf club. So from here, that's going to limit my distance. I'm going to see more shape on it because I'm going to influence more side spin. So what we want to do is make sure that we're getting the correct tee height. The study found that if we peg it up a little bit higher, even on poorer strikes, we actually have a better of hitting the fairway. Because one thing that people might not know about drivers is the way that the face is built. At the top, there's actually more loft than there is the bottom. So if we get a little bit of loft is our friend. It's going to put a bit more backspin on it and potentially keep it a bit straighter for us, and see that we would potentially hit the fairway a little bit more. So let's give this one a go. I can peg it up a little bit higher there, make a good golf swing again. A lot better strike. It's gone a little bit left, pretty similar, but straight away we can see I'm actually getting a little bit more up to the centre and more towards the top of the driver. So just be aware, and that's a great little thing you can do. Get some face spray or some chalk on your club face and give it a little spray. See where you are striking the club and the ball. Because if it's too bottom, if it's too toe, too heel, potentially you've got it pegged down and we're forced to swing across it a little bit more. If I've got it pegged higher, the chances are I'm swinging more on the up and I'm going to get a better strike location, leading to straighter shots and more fairways hit. So mistake number 2, make sure you don't just plonk your tee into the ground and be a bit complacent. Actually get the right height, and you'll see that you should start to hit more fairways. So mistake number 3, and this is sort of a 2-parter. It's all to do with tee positioning, because if we look from here, we're quite fortunate on this tee that it's pointing us pretty central down the fairway. What you will find with some other tees is that as you're going through them, they might point more off to the right, they might point more off to the left of the fairway, and they don't actually lead you down the desired path that you would want to take. So when you get onto the tee, don't just walk up, place your ball in the middle of the tees and see that you're aiming where the tee aims you. Actually have a look. Do you have a line down where you want to go, or is it pointing you off in a different direction? From there then, one of the big things that people don't do is actually allow for their shape. So if you're a little bit more of a fader, you might actually want to come to a certain side of the tee. And if you're a bit more of a drawer, you might want to move to another side. So for your fader, if you were going to work the golf ball more to the right-hand side, if you're a right-handed golfer, you could get a little bit more on the left-hand side of the tee because you're coming further away from the right-hand side of the fairway, which now as I aim a little left, actually opens up the fairway a little bit more. And vice versa, if I was drawing a bit more, I might move to the right-hand side, aim a little bit down the right, and then let that ball come back into the middle. So don't just walk up onto the tee and think, right, well, it's pointing the right direction, pop it down and off you go. Take your tee, and like for me, who I would generally try to fade it, I'm gonna move a little bit more to the left here, and then I'm gonna try and hit my little fade from this position as opposed to just standing in the middle and being led by the tee. I've picked my correct target, I'm aiming down the left slightly, and I've got loads of room to let this ball work back in. And not my best, but you know what, it's working back towards the fairway there. So make sure you don't just get complacent and walk straight into the middle of the tee. Look at where it's aiming you and then move accordingly for your shot shape. Guys, if you're enjoying this video as well, remember to hit that subscribe button down below. I want you to get better, and we're going to do that by getting you free lessons here every week on the channel. It's free to do, just click it. Let's have a look at the 4th tip. And that comes in with what we actually do repeatedly on the golf course. For me, I'm a member here at Warrington, and there's holes, especially the 17th when I play off the back tee, I spent probably 7 or 8 rounds hitting it into the trouble on the left, and I would get up onto the tee, I'd be walking off the 16th green thinking, great, 17th tee, can't wait to hit my golf ball in the gauze again. I always hit it in the golf ball, in the gauze here. We've got to change our mindset. If we go about playing the hole the same way and teeing off the same way and always making the same mistakes, I'm never going to fix them. I'll just repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. So what I did for myself, I changed what I did. I thought, I'm not going in the gauze today. I can actually get up there. If I hit a 3-wood, I can actually shape it a little bit more how I want to. It's going to come short of the gauze if I don't hit it quite well. And if I do hit it well, I will have taken the gauze out of play. So when we get to a tee that we're not quite comfortable with, maybe take a different approach, think about it differently. It might mean that you've always hit driver there, but now you hit a 3-iron or a 4 hybrid off the tee. It might leave you a little bit longer in with your second shot, but it beats you knocking it out of bounds every time or into that water hazard that you're always going in. So don't just get in that same mindset of dread and thinking that you're going to mess the shot up. Approach it differently and see if a slightly different strategy will actually help you get the ball in play a little bit more frequently. So for me, I'm actually going to aim a little bit down the right hand side on this one and then try and feel like I get a little bit of a draw, because there I am nowhere near the gauze. And it's gone down the right and it's just clambering onto the right hand rough there. But you know what? I'm not in that gauze and I'm going to walk off happy here. I'm not going to be thinking, oh, I've done it again. So make sure you're not just getting in the same mindset and getting used to, I always hit it in the rubbish here. Change how you approach it and we should see better scores coming. The fifth and final tip is all to do with conditions. Again, if you're playing the same golf course repeatedly, you probably just get into a state of, well, on the 16th hole I hit a 6-iron, on the 15th I hit a driver, on the 14th I hit a 3-wood, and we don't think about what we've got. You would notice whenever you watch a tour player go to a new venue, they have a conversation with their caddy. They're thinking about what's in front of them. What a lot of them do, obviously because they're at a higher skill level than us, they play the hole backwards. They look at where the pin is. They would then see, well, where's the best location to access that pin from? So where do I now need to put my tee shot? A lot of us, when we get out on the golf course and we get into that repetition of playing the same holes, we just choose the same clubs. And a great example of this the other day, I played with some friends, and on the par 3 16th behind us, it's only 145 yards to the flag. And one of the chaps said, I always hit my 5-iron here. Now the wind was about a 3-club wind into us, which meant that I actually convinced him to hit his driver, and he was 5 yards past the pin. If he would have gone with his 5-iron, because that's what he always hits, he would have been about 45 yards shy of the flag. So when we get onto a hole, actually think, well, where's the wind today? Is it coming into me? Is it downwind? Is it left to right? What's the condition of the of our body feeling like? Do we feel like, do you know what, I'm hitting it quite well today. I feel like I could fly that trap. What obstacles have we got out on the golf course? We would see bunkers, we would see gorse, we would see ponds. And then from there we can start to think, well, I want to shape it X, Y, and Z. If you've got a 30-yard slice and you've been seeing that all the way through your round, start to allow for that. If it's not quite going to plan, you might need to take a lower iron just to make sure that you do get in the fairway. So when we get to it, for me now on this 17th hole, driver isn't the play. And probably, do you know what? To get me safely in the fairway and make sure that on this hole I've got a chance of going for the green in 2, it's only 390 yards. My 4-iron goes 220, so that would mean I would have 170 yards for myself. At 220 I'm flying the last trap because that's at 180 from here. So this club for me, if struck correctly and goes to plan, will leave me in the fairway and give me a chance of actually going for it whilst taking all the trouble out of play. And there we go, safely down the fairway. And now, because I've not just gone, well, it's driver, it's the 17th, I've thought about it, I've assessed the conditions, I'm safely down there, and I've not made a stupid mistake again. So 5 mistakes there, all that we can act upon, just requires a little bit of thinking, a little bit of knowledge about the golf course and planning, and then you are going to stop making those stupid tee mistakes. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you hit that sub button. See you then.